Alrighty guys, so welcome back to my channel today, and we are doing another Sims 4 speed build today. So this is like my third time doing this voiceover because again, I talk way too much, I talk way too fast, and I ramble on way too much. That makes no sense, but still, I am doing a speed build today in The Sims 4, and it's called Fairytail Hideaway because I feel like that I need a hideaway from The Sims. Well, not really, but I wanted to build something that I wanted to build for so long. Like I've always looked on Pinterest for like overgrown places and in like this random place that have a lot of like magical feel with a lot of plants. So if you're new to my channel, and you'll notice that my builds have a lot of plants in them. I'm a little bit plant crazy. If you're old, if you're like not a new subscriber to my channel, you would know I'm a little bit plant crazy. I just call me the plant crazy man. That's who I am now. That's who I am. I will claim that title for the rest of my life, literally. Like, okay, I like plants in The Sims, but in the real life, no, that's too much work. That's called hard labor, not for me. I'm hashtag lazy. I rather have my Sims garden for me in The Sims. I rather watch some carton, and I'm good. But anyway, so today's a special day because I am 21 years old. It is so weird that I'm 21 years old. I can't believe it. It feels like I'm the same exact person, but I feel different. And like I'm different in a good way. And it feels amazing that it's like I've lived for 21 years and things have gone my way so well. And I just feel so happy because I've noticed like in the past recent years of my life, every time like I join an activity, I've always gotten in. And every time I set a goal for myself, I've always gotten it, which is kind of cool. But still, I still love my life. It's really amazing. And I just wouldn't take it for granted. And like, I wouldn't take life for granted because that's like, you never know what could happen in your life. So this build took me 2.5 hours, but I just want to explain that to me 2.5 hours to build. I started at 11 and ended at like 1 something, and then started rambling on about random stuff in my head. I'm like, okay, I don't know if it's just me, but somehow I've been doing YouTube for like 7 years and I continue to talk to myself. And I'm like, I have a problem. Like, okay, I was at work the other day. Was it today or was it yesterday? No, I was at work yesterday and also today. It just happens a lot. Just telling you now, it happens a lot. But no, for the past 2 days, I've been talking to myself for 40 minutes straight. So I was at work yesterday, well, 2 days ago when you're watching this, but I was just sitting at the desk just typing and doing some homework, and somehow I just started randomly talking to myself for some odd reason. I don't understand why. I don't understand how. It's weird. And I'm like, I should probably stop talking to myself. But then I continue to start talking to myself for like the next 40 minutes. What's wrong with me? Literally everything. I'm literally a mess. Help. And then today, the exact same thing happened. I was just sitting at the desk, and then I was just talking to myself for like an hour straight, and then I was on my phone, and all of a sudden, like, okay, it's weird. I'm like, I don't understand how this happens. It's really, really weird, and I need to stop, but it probably won't stop because it just won't. But, yeah, that's just my life, and that's how I roll in the world. I talk to myself and deal with it. No, but no. Anywho, the way I wanted to do this build is because I wanted to have a build that represented kind of my channel because it's SpringSims and it involves a lot of plants, and I like plants in The Sims, but not in real life because I'm hashtag lazy. And it's 2 a.m. in the morning, and somehow I'm this hyped up, but I don't know. I think my parents are asleep. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever. I'm still doing it because I can. But the funny part, I have to go to work at noon. And it's 2 a.m. so I have to wake up in 10 hours. But I'm still... And this video is like 25 minutes long. So I'm going to feel rough in the morning. But I don't care. It's all good in the hood. As long as I feel happy and I feel great. And it's my birthday. I can do whatever I want. Not really though. I won't say that because that's a lie. I can't do whatever I want yet though. But anyway, so I don't know. So my idea, I had a story for this build, but I forgot it. But I'm gonna make a story up on the whim because I usually do, and somehow it ends up turning to be good. But I don't have a name for the sim that I want to use. So I was thinking that a fairy or a witch could live here, and I guess it's kind of weird. So let's do a story time for this build. So the way it happened was that in the year of, I would say 19, no. That was not a time back then when this thing was happening. But no, it was around 1864. I think it was April 26th in 1864 when April April 26th, 1864, it was Casolette. Yeah, I think it was Casolette no, I almost said Montague. Casolette Romero was actually discovering this one lot, and she was actually kind of wandering around. She was disowned by her family at a young age. It was really awkward and really weird on how she got disowned by her own okay. She was disowned by her family at the age of 17, and it was really weird and really awkward, and I really didn't understand what was going on. Like, I was kind of not really talking to her family, but I was kind of trying to figure out what was really going on. Like, I talked to Casolette. I'm gonna call her Casolette. Casolette Romero. Casolette Romero, I was talking to her, and she really didn't, she wouldn't tell me why she got kicked out or why she got disowned. Like, she really didn't understand the reason why she got disowned, and she really didn't do anything wrong. And I believed her. I really believed her that she didn't do anything wrong, but I wanted to know why. So I went to her parents' house, and they didn't tell me a legit nothing. They didn't tell me anything what was going on. They just said that she was a disgrace to the family name, and that was it. So I kind of did a little bit of digging, and the reason why she got disowned is that because she's a witch. And I was like, wait, my best friend's a witch? That makes no sense. I really didn't want to believe it until I saw it for myself. And she didn't really know it at the time. Like, at the time, she didn't really know she was a witch at all because she was 17 years old and really didn't want to kind of really say it out loud. But I feel like deep down she knew she was a witch, but she didn't want to tell people. She didn't even want to tell me, her own best friend. She didn't even tell her own best friend that she was a witch. And I'm like, really, Casolette, I've been your best friend for literally 6 years, and you don't have the nerve, you don't have the guts to tell me that you're a supernatural being. Like, what the heck? You're crazy. Like, what the heck? And so it was I wasn't born at the time, and it was 1864 again. And she was 17 at the time, and she had this immortality spell or whatever she had to do to live forever. And she had to take it in order to live. And after that time, she took the potion or whatever she did. She basically kind of lived her life as a normal human being, and she was able to stay 17 for a while, but age kind of caught up to her after a while. So she started to age a little bit more, and she decided to, you know what? I'm going to live my life, and she's going to live her life. And she basically did that for a while until the year it was 100 years after, so 1964. And so after that, she met this one person named, I think his name was John. I believe. I am not sure. It was a little bit iffy. She was kind of she wasn't really going around, but she had multiple best friends that I really didn't understand who they were. So she met this person named John, and they kind of talked for a while, and they fell in love, and they were having a wonderful time. And I really appreciated their friendship and their ongoing relationship. And after a while, it was about a couple of years afterwards, after 1964, where they kind of met and fell in love. And John basically got on one knee and proposed to Casolette. And it was really shocking for her to wait, what's going on? She really didn't understand. And it was kind of hard for her to really understand and kind of figure out, how can someone love me when I'm this messed up? And she couldn't really comprehend that, and she really couldn't accept that John could really love her the way her parents did when she was actually really young and didn't know her secret. And so it's she was okay, I don't know how I can really cope with this. I don't really know how I can actually do this to myself. I don't really know how I can really go on and be better. So she decided, you know what? She said yes, but she wasn't really into it, and she didn't really want to actually go through with the wedding, but she did. And then after a while, I was born, and it was like up until this day. And she found this one. It was a couple years afterwards, like before I was born. This is when the lot actually kind of came together. This is where the Fairytail Hideaway came together, and where she kind of lived. Where John and her kind of lived, but mostly where Casolette lived on her own for like about a couple hundred years or so when she got disowned by her family. Like, it was really awkward at the time, where 1864, year of the times where supernatural beings were not really true. People didn't really accept it at all, but it was a time where she was like, okay, I'm going to hide my secret, but somehow someone found out in her family and told, and the word got out and she had to leave. So she basically built this with her magical powers, and she basically was like, okay, she built this house, she built this hideaway excluded from the whole entire world. That's why this whole entire lot is very, very overgrown and very kind of old looking. But on the inside, I added a little bit more of cracks to it. Ooh, my throat. I added cracks to it just to make it sure that it was actually lived in for about a couple of hundred years. Well, mostly just kind of 100 years, actually. Yeah, actually, it was only built 100 years. And so I wanted to add the cracks from the Sims 4 Vampire Game Pack. So I used those wall decals and the cracks, and it actually worked perfectly. And also used some spiderwebs from that too. So I was actually kind of happy about it. So I'll continue with the story. So when Casolette and John got married, they were basically lived happily ever after. They were that fairy tale couple who were always perfect, lived happily ever after, had the kid, and had the wonderful life. But that really didn't happen. It was all a dream. The John and Casolette getting married was not a dream. They actually got married. But with Casolette, she really wanted to have a child. But the weird part was that she couldn't conceive children. So what John did, he was like, okay, we're going to try for a baby and whatever. And he was like, okay, he was really, really happy. And Casolette really wanted to have a child with him. But he didn't know, first of all, didn't know she was a witch, didn't know she couldn't conceive children, didn't know that she was disowned by her family, didn't know that she was, some other stuff, but still, he didn't know she was a witch at all. And John's long line of family has a little bit of history with witches, and it's not really good. They kind of experiment on witches and kind of test them, and just tell you now, it doesn't end really pretty. It doesn't end really pretty, and it's really horrifying and really terrifying that John and his family have to experiment on witches. Just kind of like, I don't know why, but John's father probably, or John's grandfather or great-grandfather, I don't know. I haven't seen his family tree yet, but the way his family works is really messed up. And I literally told Casolette that this person is literally a psychopath lunatic. Do not marry him. I repeat, do not marry him. Psychopath, lunatic, no. But no, she refused. She refused. She was blinded by love. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I literally do not care. If you want to marry him, go ahead. I don't care. I'm not going to stop you with your happiness. It's whatever you want to do. I fully support you, but still, I told you, whatever you do, do not trust him, because he is literally a psychopath. I don't trust him. So after a few years later, it was okay. And I was fine with it. And I kind of got over the fact that he was like, I followed him around. And he seemed like a good guy. And I was okay. I was fine with it. And I gradually trusted him. I gradually moved on. Things were great. And Casolette was happy. And that's all I wanted for her. All I wanted for her was to be happy. And she was happy, and I was happy, and things are great. So that was pretty much it, though, with John and Casolette. But afterwards, it was okay. It was 1864 when she got disowned. 100 years later, she came and, well, it was like 1864, but then 1867, she came to this lot in Windenburg and built this lot called Fairytail Hideaway. Well, her Fairytale Hideaway, where no one can kind of come here and whatever and do with her. So basically, in 1867, she built this whole entire world, and gradually, after 100 years, it started to get a little bit old and stuff overgrown and kind of old looking, and it was really, really terrible. And then after a while, I think it was 1964, she met John, and then 1980, I believe, it was when 1964, they met. 1968 is when they got married. 1980 is when they kind of settled in, kind of moved around, and kind of traveled the world and stuff like that. They had the money in the world. And John was actually part of a rich family, so he was kind of set for life. And that's why they were able to travel. And I think it was 1988. Yeah, 1988 was the time when things started to turn for the worse. I literally told her, like, you guys know, I literally told her from the very beginning, #psychopath lunatic. Do not trust him. That's a long hashtag. We should start trending. John is a psychopath lunatic. Do not trust him. Do not marry him. Anyway, so afterwards, I told her he cannot be trusted. So, and what was it? Okay. It was, I think I said 1988. Yeah, 1988 turned for the worse. And after a while, John like suspected a few things, kind of figured out that, okay, we're not going to have children. That's okay. And he didn't really know why. They like, okay, that's fine. We can't have kids, whatever. Like, he kind of already kind of suspected that she couldn't have kids anyway, because she was kind of failing the pregnancy test and things were failing and it wasn't going well. And then after like about a year later, they were on a date or whatever. I didn't want to go into the details. She didn't really tell me about all the details, but I know what happened after the details. You know what I mean. But no, it's too much detail. TMI. But no, it was after the date, they kind of came home, and it was, I don't know what activated her powers during that time, but like, she already knew she was a witch afterwards. Like, it's been like, again, 100 and some odd years, so she kind of already knew she was a witch anyway. So she basically, I don't know what activated, but it activated her powers. And then John kind of freaked out a little bit, and it took him a while to kind of cope with it. Yeah, it took him a while to cope with it a little bit more. And he remembers specifically that Casolette told him that she had a secret hideout where she used to go when she got disowned by her family. And he kind of ran away. He drove off, leaving Casolette on the dirt road, which was so terrible. I was kind of pissed at him. I was literally pissed at him. I literally could not believe he left Casolette on the dirt road, like out, and it was around like midnight time, and I really see. I really just don't understand anymore. So he came to this area and he found this weird vase, and it was like kind of a family heirloom that she kind of kept for like 100 some odd years. And he found it and he took it to his father, and his father said, "Oh yeah, you married a freaking witch, so you're screwed for life." And then he found that out, like, oh wait, hold up. He had to kind of he didn't want to believe it at first. So he was he was a little bit delirious, a little bit delusional, kind of skeptical on some things. His father said, "Oh, you married a witch," and his father already knew. I think his father's name was Gilbert. No, not John. Not John. I'm thinking of Vampire Diaries for a second. No, his name was not John Gilbert. His name was Ryan. I think his name was Ryan. It was either Ryan or Henry. I think Ryan was his grandfather's name, but Henry is his father's name. Yeah. Henry said that he married a witch. Well, Henry said to his son, John, that he married a witch. So he was upset, confused, and shocked and appalled, and he refused to believe it. But then he kind of figured it out, and also freaked out, almost had a heart attack, almost died. So, and when Casolette tried to explain, she kind of did something. Like, she was also upset that he found out, but also kind of somewhat relieved, but didn't really want him to find out. Like, she wanted to keep it a secret from him. Like, that was like the one biggest secret she could have ever kept from her own husband. But no, she decided to keep it a secret. She decided to marry some odd mortal and trust him with all her life, knowing the fact that he had a past of his whole family being a witch, whatever, experiment, scientist, whatever. I literally told her from the beginning, like, she pissing me off, Casolette, pissing me off, and you're not even real, but you see what happens to me when I come up with storylines and I get heated and I get frustrated when, see, this is what happens. I come up with a storyline, I make it real, and then I get pissed off sometimes because it's so real that I'm like, this person is not even real, but I make it real. I make it like I actually personally known them for years. Like, I should become an author for some reason. I don't even know. I feel like I should become an author because somehow I make up storylines and I make my storylines sound so real that I feel like I've known them personally for a couple of years, or for years. And I literally told them for years that don't trust them. And Casolette, I basically told her, don't trust him. But, yeah, and I got in comments in the past saying that, is this storyline real? And I'm like, no. This storyline's not really real. Because I remember when I posted my city living apartment or housing complex build that I did a couple months ago for Kira and Stephanie. And I was explaining Kira and Stephanie's backstory. And this one person commented saying, is this storyline real? And I was like, no, it's fake. I was just coming up with a storyline for my Sims, and it just sounded so real. So, continue on the continuation with the story of Casolette, John, and Henry. Okay, so Henry is John's father. John married a witch named Casolette. Casolette was disowned by her disowned by her family. So, continue with the story. I have about 3 minutes left in the story. I might continue on with this. I don't know. But no, Casolette was disowned by her family. So after John found out, and he basically divorced Casolette, which I can understand why, but still, like, come on. You figured out after 15 some odd years, see, they were married for 15 some odd years. Well, no, 1960, 1964 they met. 1967 they got married. So 15 some odd years they've been married. So I'm like, it took you 15 years to find out she was a freaking witch. Like, how long did it take you to figure out that she couldn't get pregnant? How long did it figure out that she was a witch? 15 years, 17 years. I think it took him 17 years to figure out that she was a witch, but only about, I think, 2 years to figure out that she wasn't able to conceive children for some odd reason. I think she had some health issues or something that was going on with her woman stuff. I don't know. I don't know things. I don't know people. I don't know words, actually. But no, either way, he was fine with not having kids, like saying, we can adopt kids. And after that, she was like, no, it's fine. I don't want to go through the pain again of losing another kid or adopting the kid and having the child be disappointed and stuff like that. So he was fine with that. It took him a while to kind of get over that. He wanted to continue his family lineage. I get it. I get that he wanted to continue his family lineage and all stuff like that, but still, he was able to accept it. So after a while, about 17 years, took him that long. He's so dumb. But no, still, it took him 17 years to figure out that she was a witch. They got divorced after 2 years, and that was pretty much it. John moved on with his life, but later on, he had a little bit of a health issues because what Casolette did is that when he found out, Casolette followed him to the house and did some weird spell to kind of compel him or do whatever she did. But after they got divorced, it kind of made him a little bit sick afterwards. 2 years later, he actually got physically sick. He was very, very ill, and he actually died about 3 years later, and that kind of made her snap. It made her literally snap for the worst, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna step back, let her do her thing, and move on with my life. So I did. I could have left her without, I left her in the dust, which I was like, you know what, Casolette, you can deal with your problems on your own. You can come back to me. You can come back to having a a friendship with me when you get your ish together, because I won't deal with your BS anymore, because if you don't get it right, we can't be friends anymore. So I literally can't deal with her anymore. But still, either way, we are at the end of this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys all in the very next video. Bye!